Welcome back. I'm Rahana. We're playing more of Gakuen Heaven 2, and as this says, we're moving on to June 6th and the first round of the Bell 1.
イタリア料理の素材として知られ、リーントスカ、オーラムなどの品種があるカボチャ科の野菜は
So there is even more quizzing going on here, courtesy of Takato, even though it's the morning before the actual event. Known as an ingredient in Italian cuisine, what is this vegetable in the squash family with varieties such as green tosca and arum?
Zucchini.
Zucchini.
よろしい。全問正解です。
Good. All questions correct.
Oh!
And everyone is very impressed.
やったな、Yuki.
You did it, Yuki.
はい。
Yeah.
俺たちすごい。
We're amazing.
てめえで言ってりゃ世話ねえな。
Well, if you guys can say that, there's no problem.
そうだね。レオレオが褒める前に先っこされちゃったね。
That's right. You beat me to it before I could praise them.
なこと言ってねえ。
I wasn't saying anything like that.
たった3日でよくあれだけの問題集を覚えたな。
I'm surprised you learned so many sets of questions in just 3 days.
俺だったら絶対にごめんだな。
If it were me, I'd absolutely refuse.
そんなことないって。友だって切羽詰まればやるだろ。
That's not true. You would do it if you were forced to.
なんだってこの学園の存続がかかってるんだから。
Since no matter what, it concerns the survival of the school.
その通り。
That's right.
俺たちはこの戦いに勝利し、必ず理事会案を廃案にしてみせる。
We will win this fight and definitely reject the board's proposal.
いいぞ生徒会。
Well said, student council.
二人とも頑張ってくれよ。
Both of you do your best.
うむ、任せておけ。
Yeah, leave it to us.
2人ともよく頑張りました。
Both of you have worked
これ
hard.
ならば理事会に負けることもないでしょう。
With this, you won't lose to the board.
あとはあまり緊張しすぎずベルワンに臨めば。
And for the rest, as long as you attend the Bell 1 without getting too nervous.
いいか、ユキ。回答がわからないときは俺が勘で答える。
Alright, Yuki, when you don't know the answer, I'll answer with my intuition.
それでもダメなら君の運にかける。
And if even that is no good, we'll bet on your luck.
わかりました。やってみせます。
Alright, I'll try it.
うむ、その意気だ。
Yeah, that's the spirit.
この調子でしたら緊張を心配することもないでしょう。
If it goes like this, we won't have to worry about nerves.
では行こうか。
Then shall we go?
はい。
Yes. So this just cuts to the usual Bell
これよ
1
り
stuff.
ベルワングランプリ
So I'm going to skip, and I don't need to hear the rules. And in fact, we will just win completely without doing anything, which is
やったやないか。
fantastic. That's a result of updating the game to the newest patch, which I was reluctant to do for a long time because it does invalidate all of your saves, but it keeps all of your saved data, so there's no problem if you want to skip ahead to different things, if you want to look at the CGs or listen to the music or see any of the other things that you've unlocked. It preserves all of that. You just have to delete all your saves, unfortunately, which took me forever because I was using almost all of the save slots, and there's 100. So it's not too much of a setback. I mean, it kind of sucks to lose those different places, but it's easy to get back to wherever you want in the game, especially if you just bust out a guide for whatever you were looking for, and then you can just remake whatever saves you need for whatever you want to do. So I do recommend it because being able to skip the minigames is huge. The minigames in this game are kind of obnoxious after you play them 100,000 times. And especially when you lose Blackjack to Joker about 16 times in a row, and you're like, okay, I can't even deal with this anymore. Alright, so we're gonna skip ahead here.
でもよかった。クイズが思ったより簡単で。
And this is in the courtyard, Yuki is saying, well, I'm glad the quiz was easier than I expected.
絶対解けないような問題が出たらどうしようかと思った。
I wonder what I would do if there was a question I absolutely couldn't answer.
これも高藤さんの特訓の成果かな。
I guess this is the result of Takato-san's intensive training.
いや、君が頑張ったからだ。
No, it's because you worked hard.
何言ってるんだよ。空也さんだって一緒に頑張っただろ。
What are you saying? You worked hard with me.
ああ、俺たちの勝利だ。
Yeah, it's our victory.
それにだ。
And
この
besides,
戦いはフェアに行われる。それが分かって俺は嬉しい。
the fight was fair. Knowing that makes me happy.
どういうこと？
What do you mean?
いいか、ユキ。榊先生のスパルタは有名だ。
Alright, Yuki, Professor Sakaki is famous for being harsh.
君はレギュラークラスだから知らないかもしれないが、基本的にテスト問題はえぐい。
Since you're in the regular class, you might not know it, but basically his test questions are nasty. And this is pointed out in several other places and also just in some supplemental materials. But that he doesn't do the same sort of thing on that level for the regular class. It's only for the hard and ultimate students where he'll put on trick questions and things like that. But for the regular students who are just, trying to make it through the material, he's a little nicer to them.
だが、今日のクイズは普通だった。
But today's quiz was average.
でも俺にとってはあの問題は十分難しかったけど。
But those questions were plenty hard for me.
さっきは簡単だったなんて言ったけど、それは勉強したからで。
I said it was easy before, but that's because I studied.
してなかったらそうはいかなかったと思う。
If I hadn't, I don't think it would have gone so well.
その通り。
That's right.
努力すれば突破可能という難易度。
It was a level of difficulty where it was possible to get through it with effort.
それこそが、君が本当に生徒会長にふさわしいか、理事会が見極めようとしている証拠だ。
And that's proof that the board is actually trying to determine if you're fit to be the student council president.
さっきからクーヤさんが言いたいことがよくわかんないんだけど。
Ah, poor Yuki. For a while now, I haven't really understood what you're trying to say.
だってこのベルワンってそもそもそのために開かれてるんじゃないか。
But that's why the Bell One's being held in the first place, isn't it?
そうだ。
That's right.
だが、ベルワンの開催について、理事会がやけにすんなり飲んだことに疑問は感じなかったか？
But didn't you feel uneasy about the board accepting holding the Bell One that easily?
確かに。
Well, that's true.
俺と正嗣は、これが罠なんじゃないかと疑ってたんだ。
Masatsugu and I suspected this might be a trap. And now we're going to get a short flashback here.
ベ
The two
ル
of
ワン
them.
ですか。確かに怪しげな。
So the Bell One, huh? It certainly is suspicious.
そうか？とにかく開催まで持ち込めたんだ。ここまでは上々じゃないか。
Really? Anyway, we've gotten to the point that the Bell One will actually be held. It's great so far.
ベルワンそのものはいいでしょう。ですが理事会側が正々堂々勝負に挑むと思いますか？
The Bell One itself is fine, but do you think the board is going to fight fair? Takato continuing, he just does not trust the board, and especially Professor Sakaki, who represents the board.
1回戦のクイズは理事会側が作成するんでしょう？
The round one quiz is being prepared by the board, isn't it?
そこで難易度を異常に高くし、我々生徒側の代表である朝比奈をあっさりと敗退させる。
They might make the difficulty abnormally hard in order to eliminate Asahina, who's the representative of the student body.
そういう筋書きなのでは？
Maybe it's that sort of scenario.
まさか。
No way.
そんなことをするくらいだったら、そもそもベルワンなんかやらなければいい。
If they were going to do that, it would be better not to have the Bell One in the first place.
ですが、いきなり学園を潰したら、その反響は大きいものになるでしょう。
And here's a good point, but if the school is suddenly closed, there will be great repercussions.
学園の生徒や教職員といった直接の関係者だけではありません。
It won't just be for those directly affected, the school's students and the teachers.
卒業生やマスコミも黙ってはいないでしょう。
The alumni and the media won't stay quiet.
ですから、何らかの言い訳を必要としているのではないでしょうか。
So perhaps they need some sort of excuse.
それがベルワンだと？
You're saying that's the Bell One?
私はそう思います。
I believe so.
つまり、
In short,
ベルワンの開催を許し、生徒の要求を飲んだふりをする。
allowing the Bell One to be held, they're pretending to accept the demands of the students.
しかる後、勇気の実力とは関係なく理事会が勝利し、無理やりにでも生徒を納得させる。
And after doing that, they'll force the students to accept the board's victory, which had nothing to do with Yuki's abilities.
で、生徒が納得してるんだから、よそは黙っとけ、と。
And because the students are accepting it, everyone else will stay quiet.
そういうことか？
Is that it?
そうです。
That's right.
無茶じゃないか？
Isn't that absurd?
そもそも無理を通そうと言うんです。何を言い出すかわかりません。
I'm saying that from the beginning they've been trying to force their will on us, and I don't know what they're proposing.
まあそうだが。
Well, that's true.
だが俺は理事会側がそこまで卑怯だとは思わない。
But I don't think the board is so cowardly.
彼らにだって理念や理想があるはずだ。
They must have principles and ideals.
だといいのですが。
I should hope so. They should not be horrible, nasty, cheating people who would basically take advantage of a student, use that as an excuse to close the school and screw a whole bunch of stuff up. That'd be nice.
何にせよ、サイは投げられたんだ。
Anyway, the die's been cast.
渡らなければ我が破滅。俺たちは進むしかない。
And if we don't cross, we'll be ruined. All we can do is move forward.
それに、1回戦のクイズ内容を見れば、理事会側の思惑はわかるさ。
When we see the contents of the quiz for the first round, we'll know the intentions of the board.
では、その時になって手遅れにならないよう、我々は最善を尽くしましょう。
So that it won't be too late at that point, we should deal with it as best we can. So they need to prepare as much as possible because they don't know at this point if the board is going to take this seriously and play a fair game with them.
そういうことだ。
That's right.
という感じだな。
That's how it went.
そんな話いつしてたんですか？
When did you have that conversation?
ベルワン開催が宣言された直後だったか。
Right after the announcement of the Bell one, I guess.
知らなかった。
I had no idea.
言わなかったからな。
Because we didn't tell you.
まあそんなこんなで、何はともあれ1回戦だ。
Well, in the end, for the first round,
出題された問題の難易度はさっき言ったように適切だった。
the difficulty of the questions that were asked was appropriate, as I said before.
簡単すぎもせず、難しすぎもしない。とても真っ当でクリーンな問題だ。
It wasn't too easy or too hard. They were decent and clean questions.
つまり、この学園を潰すなんて無茶を言い出す理事会だが、
In short, although the board proposed the absurdity of closing the school,
俺たち生徒に対しては正々堂々挑んできているってことだ。
they're fighting fairly against us students.
それが分かって実に良かった。
I'm really glad to know that. That's one of the things if you read Kuya's character profile. He does not like things that are unfair. He's very much against that. He likes things that are done fair and square, and if somebody cheats or does something kind of against the rules, that really bends him out of shape. So that the board is not screwing around here, he is very happy about that. Yeah.
なんだユキ、浮かない顔だな。
What is it, Yuki? You look depressed.
クーヤさんっていろんなことを考えてるんだ。
Well, you've been thinking about a lot of different things.
俺ベルワンがデキレースかもなんて想像もしなかった。
I never imagined that the Bell one could be a rigged game.
だってユキ、
Well, Yuki.
こんなに一生懸命頑張ってるのに、それが全部意味のないことだなんて、君は絶対に嫌だろ？
You don't want everything to end up being pointless, even though you've worked so hard, right? Right.
俺だって嫌だ。
Me either.
だから、尽くせる手は全て打つ。考えられることは考えておく。できる用心はしておく。
And that's why I'll do everything I can. I'll consider everything that can be considered, and I'll take what precautions I can. So basically, letting Yuki do his thing, do whatever it is that he needs to do, assuming that it's going to be a fair fight. Meanwhile, Kuya will kind of take care of the details. Because I think it's enough for Yuki to have to take care of the obvious responsibilities as opposed to wondering what's going on behind the scenes. Because as always, he wants to trust what he sees at face value. He doesn't think deeper about things that are going on, even though it makes sense to suspect someone or a group in this case.
そういうことだ。
That's it.
まあ、俺よりマサツグの方が得意な分野だから、半分以上は任せるけどな。
Well, that's Masatsugu's specialty more than mine, so I'll leave most of it to him. So Takato is a much more suspicious type of person, doesn't trust anyone readily.
そっか。
I see.
どうした？
What's the matter?
どうして俺には何も言ってくれなかったんだよ。
Why didn't you tell me anything?
何？杞憂かもしれないことで、君に無用な心配をかけたくなかったというだけだ。
Why? Well, it's just I didn't want you to cause you unnecessary worry because of unfounded concerns. It's true. They didn't know if that was the case or not. So letting Yuki in on their speculation could have messed him up.
空也さん
And we get a choice here. Either I wish you had told me or thank him for being considerate. So we'll say thank you.
ありがとうございました
Thank
おかげで
you.
ベルワンにも落ち着いて出られました
Thanks to you, I was able to be calm in the Bell one.
もしかしたら超難問が出るんじゃなんて思ってたらすごく緊張したかも
I was already really nervous, thinking, what if there's a super hard question?
だが俺たちは勝った。
But we won.
はい
Right.
それじゃあ生徒会室に戻るとするか。
Then let's go back to the student council room.
高藤さんに報告しないと
Yeah, we have to tell Takato-san. So you can just see the consideration that Kuya and also Takato have for Yuki. They have a bit of an understanding of how he works, even though they haven't known him quite that long. And they're thinking to themselves, what are the benefits of letting Yuki know that we're suspicious? And there really aren't any benefits. The only thing that it would serve to do would be to upset Yuki and potentially make him mess up in the quiz, distract him so much that he can't learn the things he needs to learn, or make him get nervous while he's taking the quiz. So it's you can kind of see from the other perspective, maybe he had a right to know about their suspicions also. So it's kind of a double-sided thing, and but in this case it makes sense that they decided to spare him that, especially now that they have proof that the board is going to play fair and square. There was no need to worry him. So the next scene, we'll head back to the student council room, and it'll be kind of a wordy scene where the boys will explain to Yuki a bit about the school and the board and the friction between the board and the director, which, if you've played the original game, you'll be kind of familiar with how that's going on. But there'll be a little more of explanation and interesting information embedded in there about the school and its ideals and kind of the history, which is nice because it wasn't really explicitly mentioned in the first game, so it's nice to get a bit more detail as we play through here. So I hope you'll enjoy that, and I hope you enjoyed this part as well, and that you will come back next time to watch the next video and enjoy that too. So I will see you again. Thank you.